I think the hardest part about divorce, at least for me, my experience, is avoiding a process server. I don't know if anybody's ever had to do that. I don't wish that on nobody, because I didn't really know how important a process server is in a divorce. I didn't realize all that it entailed, because I'll never forget when the quote-unquote shit hit the fan. Like, we have been separated for like 2-3 months already, right? And I'll never forget, I was in Naples, Florida. It was a Friday night. I had 2 shows. I get off stage after the first show. I go to my dressing room. I check my phone. And that's when TMZ got a hold of my divorce. And everybody's texting me, calling me, sending me the links. It's TMZ, BET, People, AOL. I was like, AOL? We got a dial-up divorce. Ain't this a bitch? So my lawyer just started blowing me up. And so I finally answered. She goes, Gary, where you at right now? I said, I'm in Naples, Florida. She goes, you got a show tonight? I said, I got 2. I just got on the first one. Second one starts in 30 minutes. She goes, cancel it. I said, I can't cancel the show in 30 minutes notice. She goes, no, Gary, you don't understand. We are worried that a process server is on the way to serve you. I said, what does that mean? So she had explained to me, we got a house in California. We got a house in Ohio. I filed for divorce in Ohio. My ex filed in California. So my lawyer said, Gary, if you get served, chances are your divorce will go down in California. California's a 50-50 state, which means she can get half your money for the rest of your life. I said, say less, this show's over. I canceled that show so goddamn fast. I would say I feel bad for those 400 people that night, but I don't. Fuck them all. I got bigger shit to worry about than hee-hee-ha-ha jokes. My life, motherfucker. When I tell you, I immediately went on the run. Immediately. I canceled all my credit cards. I was Randy Moss, straight cash, homie. I changed my cell phone number. I changed my cell phone carrier, because I'd be watching the first 48. They be catching them killers by pinging their cell phones off them towers. I didn't want a process server pinging my shit. I was sticking and moving all over the country. I was never anywhere for more than like 5-6 days. I was going to really white areas to blend in. Went to Maine, Montana, North and South Dakota. Went to West Virginia, hiked the Appalachian Trail. I was on the run. But after about 8 weeks of being on the run, I said, I got to get back to work. I was going crazy, right? So I called my lawyer, I called my manager. I said, I'm ready to go back to work. They said, Gary, we don't recommend it. I said, I got to get back to work. So the 8 weeks I was on the run, I really tried to educate myself on how not to get served. So in my line of work, the 2 most common places is on stage and at the airport. So when I went back to work, all my shows, I'd be way back here. I was traveling with the undercover security guy, so you wouldn't know. He'd be in the front, you wouldn't even know it. So, and then the airport was the other big one. So what I would do, I would never fly into a city I was performing in. So my first week back to work, I was in Baltimore, Maryland. I flew into Pittsburgh, drove my ass down to Baltimore, and never got on the highway, all back roads. Because let me tell you something, these process servers, they'll get these fake ass cop cars, they'll pull you over, you ain't getting a ticket, you getting papers. So I was back. So at one point, I was so deep in Amish country in Pennsylvania. That's how back roads I was at. Like, I was the only car on the road. It was a bunch of dudes in horses and carriages. They got these suits on with hats and beards with no mustaches. And you look on the side, they building homes with their bare hands. Like no hammer, just hitting a nail. So I got hungry. At one point I got hungry, I said, I gotta stop and get something to eat. So I stopped at this restaurant called Bob Evans, right? So I sit in this back booth so I can see everybody coming. So I'm eating, but my head's on swivel, like I said. And it's all Amish looking people in the restaurant. And also one black dude walked in. I said, what the fuck he doing here? And the dude made eye contact. He goes, yo, Gary. I said, not today. Not today. He started walking towards me. I'm throwing orange juice, toast at this motherfucker. He chased me all over that goddamn restaurant. I don't know if he was a process server or not. I couldn't risk it. There's probably still some brother in Pennsylvania. Gary's a motherfucking asshole. My bad. If he sees this, my fault, man. So it ended up after about April, May, June, 4.5 months of me avoiding a process server and her avoiding a process server, we finally got her at a Panera Bread in Antioch, California. So shouts out to Panera. And here's the thing, it's all luck in the end. It's all luck. Because when you know a process server is trying to serve you and she knows, in the end, I always used to tell myself, how's this gonna play out? And it just ended up being lucky. And because I hired a process server out here in California and she wasn't doing her job. So I had to get this process server in Ohio, and me and her flew from Cincinnati out here to California. So we get off the plane, we go to my old neighborhood, and we just got lucky. We saw my ex pulling out of a grocery store parking lot, and I told the processor, oh, that's her. So we start falling on the highway, and the processor was like, you gotta get in the back seat. She might see you in the rearview mirror. So now I'm in the back seat riding, and we following her. And then she goes, you gotta get the fuck down. She might see you. So now I'm just laying flat. I don't know where the hell we at. And then we finally, all of a sudden we stopped, and the lady just looked back. She was like, it's go time. I was like, what the fuck, go time? I'm just trying to give her some papers. This ain't no Jason Bourne shit. So here's how we got lucky. She goes to Panera, and she goes through the drive-thru. So she got stuck. She had a couple cars in front of her, a couple behind her. But here's the thing, you still gotta get her to roll down the window. If she don't roll down the window, she ain't served. That's why I brought this chick from Ohio with me. She knew what she was doing. So she can't go in front of the car or behind the car because she could see her in the rearview mirror. And thank God my ex was riding in a Tahoe. So she's riding up kind of high, Tahoe that I paid for in full. Just want to throw that out there. So then somehow this process server, she got right next to the driver's side door, and she was just beneath the rear view mirror. So the whole time my ex was in the drive-thru Panera, she didn't know a girl was right next to the truck. So every time she would pull up, she would just walk with the car. She finally rolled down her window to place her order. She just stood up. She was like, you're served. I said, oh, we got her. She was so mad. Ooh, she was so mad. Because I remember it was about an hour later, I got a text, you dusty white devil. I was like, dang, why I gotta be dusty? White devil's enough, but dusty? So, you know, me being a comedian, I'm sarcastic. I text her back. I said, the whole time we was married, I kept telling you got to eat too much. Now look what it got you served. She was mad. She hit me with like 3,000 black middle fingers. It just kept going on my phone. I was like, God, she's still going. She finally stopped. I hit her with the one shoulder shrug. I think the hardest part about, the craziest thing about a divorce, man, especially you go through a public, messy divorce, that's when you especially find out who your real friends and family are. Because, man, I lost, my whole circle changed. I lost a lot of friends, a lot of family members because of my divorce. My dad, that hoe back bitch, man, I never knew my dad was a hoe back bitch till my divorce happened. So, man, I came out his dick. All the dicks in the world, and I came up a hoe back bitch dick. Okay, so clearly I gotta explain why I called him that. You can't just call your dad a hoe back bitch. You're not gonna detail why he's a hoe back bitch. So I say my dad, I use that word very loosely. Like, he wasn't around when I was growing up, but then when I got a little older and I got on TV and got in a couple movies, he started popping up a lot more. It's weird how that happens. So I think in the back of my brain, I kind of knew what it was all the time with him, right? So when I was on the run, right, one of the weekends I was on the run, a friend of mine got me an Airbnb in Sedona, Arizona. So I'm at this Airbnb for a week. And after about 2-3 days, I was getting bored. So I was seeing this young lady, and I called her. I said, hey, can you come out to Sedona for a few days? Now, keep in mind, this is 6 months after we had been separated. So it's not a side chick, it's not a mistress. I'm allowed to date, my ex allowed to date. So me and this girl were hanging out in Sedona. Now she's getting bored. So one day we woke up, we said, well, let's go to Grand Canyon. I've never been, she's never been, let's go. Couple-hour drive. So we go there. Keep in mind, nobody's served yet. So my head's still on a swivel. And I thought Grand Canyon was some more white shit I could do and blend in. But then there was a couple brothers there that day, but they wasn't hiking down because they didn't want to get their Jordans dirty. I was like, damn, you bought some crispy white ones. So like anybody when you go to Grand Canyon, right? You take pictures. So that day I took like 7, 8 pictures. And when I got my new cell phone, in the beginning only like 10, 15 people had my cell number. So I'd always text people in a group chat to let them know where I'm at, keep them updated on my whereabouts and stuff. So my dad was in the group text. At that point I thought I could trust him. So in one of the pictures at the Grand Canyon I took, and the girl was in the picture with me. And nobody brought up, nobody said anything. I thought nothing of it. Fast forward a couple weeks later. It's July 4th. I fly home to Cincinnati. I said, I want to go to Reds game. So I'm going to go to Reds game. I can't sit in the stands with everybody else. I got to get a suite because I can't risk sitting in the stands and a motherfucker walking up going, you want some peanuts and papers? So I had to get a suite. So I called one of my buddies up. He invited like 7, 8 of our mutual friends, and everybody knew the rules. No social media posts, no pictures, no announcements. You're at the game. We had a great day at the ballpark. The next morning, July 5th, 7:17 in the morning, I get a voicemail from my dad. Hey, it's your fucking dad, and you don't respect me. And he just starts cussing me out. I go, what the fuck's he mad about? Then he sends me a long text about an hour later how he heard I came in town. I went to the Reds game. I didn't invite him. He's come to expect this behavior from me. I never include him in shit. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. This motherfucker's mad about a Reds game? Keep in mind, motherfucker never took me to a Reds game growing up. I didn't feel the need to take your old ass to a Reds game. So I said, let me call him. So when I called him, I said, it's gotta be something deeper to that. First words out of my mouth. Hey, Dad, I got your voicemail, I got your text. He goes, yeah, I meant every word of it. I was like, this ain't gonna end well. So now we're talking, it's getting heated. Here's the problem with my dad. He's a bit of a bully. He likes to cuss people out. The problem is, when he tries to cuss me out, he forgets that I hang out with a lot of black people. So I can cuss him out better than he can cuss me out because you become a product of your environment. So my dad got mad and hit me with a, well, fuck you. I was like, well, fuck you, fuck your bitch ass wife, fuck your fucking family, homie. I hung up on him. So, when I hung up on him, this whole bag bitch, that picture of me and the girl from the Grand Canyon, he sent it to my ex-wife. Then he took that same picture and posted it on his Facebook page, put the middle finger emoji in front of it. Then he posted a picture of my ex-wife on his Facebook page and was like, I got your back to this divorce. You've always been like a daughter to me. Keep in mind, my dad don't like black people at all. Has no black friends. Motherfucker's a Trump thumper. Not Trump supporter, Trump thumper. Like, I ain't saying he rushed the Capitol. He was at the monument. That motherfucker made the trip, but now he wants to support a black woman. You hoe bag bitch. And I meant every word I said. His wife can get it too. That Tom Petty looking hoe. Free falling ass bitch. Flat ass, no titties. Built like an overdeveloped 6th grader. If that hoe landed on Jeffrey Epstein's island, they say send her ass home. What the fuck could do with this? She ugly as fuck. Flat ass motherfucker. If she went to Japan, all the Japanese women will be like, oh fuck, look at how flat the her ass is. I've never seen such a flat ass. Mine's so much bigger. Well, thanks for letting me vent. I'm gonna get a drink. Tell you what I've done since I got divorced. So I started taking gummies. Yeah, like, I never did any drugs when I was married, and then I get divorced. I was like, I'm gonna try some shit, you know? Here's the thing about gummies though, like, nobody ever just finds a gummy and starts taking it. Like, somebody has to introduce you to that shit, and you better hope you pick the right friend the first time you do it. Because whoever gives you a gummy the first time you do it, they're gonna talk to you like you a CVS pharmacist. Hey, what you think about, Gary? You want the 10 milligram or the 15 milligram? I want the little red bear. I want to try that little red bear. I don't think you want the bear. I want to try the bear. And they always give you all these disclaimers before you take it. All right, Gary, look, I'm gonna give you the bear. Promise me you'll be somewhere stationary when you take it. Because once you eat it, it's gonna be about 30 to 45 minutes before it kicks in, and you don't want to be in your car driving when that happens, because you don't know how your body's gonna react. That right there should tell you don't do it. You don't know how your body's gonna react? Because I remember first time I ever took a gummy, I went to my boy's house. He had a little packet on the kitchen counter. I go over, I grab the packet. We get in his car. We head to a restaurant. On the way to the restaurant, I ate the bear. We sit out at the restaurant. We order our food. talking. It's at that point I looked at my watch, 30 minutes, nothing. 35, nothing. 40, nothing. Looked at my buddy, I said, hey, I think you gave me a drug-free bear. So my dumb ass took another one. Whoa, look at all the addicts. A bunch of drug heads here in San Jose. I ain't ever seen a whole motherfucking crowd go, oh! You're like a table here, a table here, not every motherfucker in here. I think the camera guy stopped filming. This motherfucker's like, too. So, here's the thing though. Here's the thing about taking those bears 40 minutes apart. It don't matter. It don't matter that I took those bears 40 minutes apart. When those two bears met each other in my stomach, they came together and formed a bigger, stronger bear. It's not like one bear came out and 40 minutes later, the other bear came out. No. Same time the bears attack. And when the bears attack, there's nothing you can do. It don't matter how much food you eat. It don't matter how much water you drink. Somebody told me milk. Lies. When the bears attack, the only thing that can help you is time. Because when those two bears attacked me in that restaurant, I felt like I was in the movie Get Out. I was just stuck. I was there, mentally I was there. I just couldn't talk. But I was happy. Those two bears made me happy. Because I remember I was sitting in a restaurant and I was having a full conversation with myself in my brain. I was like, this is crazy. I can't talk. What chance? All these people are at the same restaurant I'm at. I don't know anybody here. God, it came at the same time. And then the waiter finally came over with our food. And my buddy went to the bathroom. And I can't tell the waiter that's our food. I can't talk. And I'm fucking starving at this point. You know how much food you gotta eat to feed two bears? So the waiter just kept standing there, who got a chicken fried rice? Who got a chicken fried rice? And I can't say shit. I'm just staring at this motherfucker. He's about to leave. I said, I can't let this motherfucker leave. So I had to focus. And I had to override the bears. But when the bears allowed me to speak, they made me stereotype my food. Because the waiter was like, look, one last time, who got a chicken fried rice? I said, I got that motherfucking chicken fried rice. And that's all I said for the next 30 minutes. That's my motherfucking chicken fried rice. My buddy finally came back to the table. He started fucking with me. Gary, how's your food? This some good ass motherfucking chicken fried rice. And I know that food was good. I know it was good. Because I never brought it to my mouth. I went to the table to get it. I thought my fingers was chopsticks. I was killing that shit. I tell you what. Looking back on that day, I'm glad I took those gummies. I'm glad I've continued to take gummies. Because I feel like it's helped me act a little bit, you know? Because, you know, here's the thing. Since it's been established, everybody in here has done it. Isn't it crazy, like, when you take a gummy, you think of some of the simplest shit. And you'd be like, why haven't I thought of this before? Better yet, why hadn't anybody else ever thought of this? But I would never risk taking a gummy before I came on stage, because I can't risk getting stuck again. I'm just staring at you motherfuckers. You motherfuckers are staring at me. You get mad, I ain't telling no jokes. Everybody stands up to leave, and the Bears are like, Gary, look at that, you're getting a standing ovation. They love you. Look at that Bay Area love. Dang, I ain't even say shit.
What's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen. Get some.
I remember when I was in high school, though. I remember in high school, I remember I was playing football. I went to an all-white high school, though. We didn't have any black guys in my school district. And then I do remember my junior year of high school, we had one black guy move to our school district and sign up for football. Oh, we thought we was going to state. I ain't lying, man. That brother showed up. He's like, guys, look, there's a black in the team. It is fucking on this year. That guy fucking sucked, man. He was a foreign exchange student from France.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. You can listen on iTunes. Go to Gary Owen, hashtag Get Some, or go to United We Cast. Also, you can listen or watch it on YouTube at youtube.com/Gary Owen Com. Sorry, I got a little frog in my throat. The problem right now is I'm traveling and I'm doing my podcast from Houston. I live in Cincinnati. I think I'm leaving the cold weather. It's not that bad in Cincinnati. When I left a couple days ago, you get to Houston, it's freezing. I woke up this morning, it's snowing. It never snows in Houston. It's not going to stick. It's supposed to go away, but it's snowing today. And what's crazy is it's freezing, and tomorrow it's going to be in the 60s in Houston. So I woke up, I was like, why is my throat a little sore? And then I realized, the weather. And I didn't bring a scarf. Yeah. Sometimes you got to listen to your wife. And she overpacks, and I try to underpack. But this would have been one of them times. It might have been good for me to overpack. I'm at the Houston Improv December 7th to the 10th, and then I'm here December 14th to the 17th. So I'm here for 2 weeks. So I'm going to be like an adopted son of Houston. Usually when comedians come do comedy clubs, we just do 1 week. But this Houston Improv, they just got a lock on the market. Like, whoever runs it, they just know how to promote. And like every comic will be like, I sold out in Houston. I'm like, everybody sells out in Houston. A lot of comics will add shows in Houston. And so I was like, I'm just going to try to do 2 weeks and see what happens. So that's why I'm here. I'm here for 2 weeks straight. Two things. One, I just found out my favorite breakfast spot, Snooze, in the country is in Houston. And it's in walking distance of my hotel. And here's my problem with that is I've been eating good. I've been eating clean. I did the movie Meet the Blacks too. And there was a guy on set and he started talking to me. And this is what happens with me. I very much can go cold turkey on things. Like when I shot Think Like a Man, Ramani Malco pulled me aside and told me, I was about 230, maybe 235 when we shot that movie. And he said, you got to eliminate gluten, Gary. You'll lose weight quick if you eliminate gluten. I just stopped eating gluten. He told me what it was. Look for bromelated enriched wheat flour. He goes, anything with that, don't eat it. It's nothing nutritional to your body. I was like, all right. So I stopped eating gluten. And I just went cold turkey and I dropped like 7-8 pounds in a couple weeks just by eliminating gluten. That's it. I didn't change anything else in my lifestyle, just that. And so I'm on this set of Meet the Blacks 2 4 weeks ago, and I was talking to this guy, and then he started educating me and this girl on set about nutrition, and then I started reading up on things, and I found out a couple things I've been doing wrong. One, you're not supposed to drink water when you eat. You're supposed to wait like an hour after you eat before you drink water, because I guess the water, you won't get the nutrients from the food, and it also just bloats your whole digestive tract. It just washes everything away. So you're supposed to drink a lot of water, obviously, but you got to wait. And that's been huge for me. And what I'm getting at is I've gone from 228 to 214 in 3 weeks. I dropped 14 pounds in 3 weeks by doing, the only thing I've done is I've eliminated all processed sugars, nothing white. As far as I'll eat white chicken breast, but nothing, no white potatoes, no white rice, no bread. I eliminate that, processed sugars, and, just being careful what you eat. No cheese, no dairy. And I just gone cold turkey, and I don't even miss it. I found these chips as I'm watching the game called Bonitos. They're just made of beans. I switched from cheese dip to hummus. Just simple things I did, but I dropped. And everyone that's been seeing me lately is like, man, you all right? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm just eating better. I mean, that's pretty much all I've done is change my and not drinking any water when I eat. So no spicy foods for me, because I have to drink some water if I eat some spicy foods. But I've never known that. I was doing the exact opposite. I would just chug as much water as I can when I ate dinner or breakfast or lunch if I was out to eat, because I'm thinking, I got to get, if I'm 220, I got to drink 110 ounces of water. And I'm thinking, I got to drink all this water, and doing everything completely wrong. I was like, oh, I'm doing this backwards. So now to find out snooze is right down the street is scary, because I'm like, no. In the mornings you wake up and you're like, did you see the pancake real quick? So I'll probably make my way to snooze one day this week and just do one day of a big breakfast. And that's it. Then I'm getting on the treadmill and sauna and elliptical at the same time. I'm gonna put the elliptical in the sauna and just get rid of all of it at the same time. Yeah, but I'm down to 214. I was in that light. I was 213 when we started shooting Think Like a Man 2, which is almost 5 years ago. And while we shot the movie, I stayed around 218 most of the movie. So this is the lightest I've been in years. Because usually I can't ever break that 220 mark. I'm always like, God, I can't get under 220. And it's all my diet. It's everything I'm eating. Like I eat big on Thanksgiving like everybody. And I'll have another cheat day at some point. But I got to make sure if I have a cheat day, I make it worthwhile. Because I'm going in on my one cheat day. But the thing about it is I don't even miss the stuff. Once you stop, your palate changes completely. I grew up on soda. I drank soda as much as I could growing up. Man, you live in a trailer park in Ohio. Mountain Dew is like being American. Mountain Dew and Doritos? Come on now. Come on. That was a wrap. And then once I stopped drinking soda, which is a couple years ago, I mean, it's disgusting to me now. Like it just tastes like syrup and sugar. Only thing I drink is water and coffee. That's in black. My coffee's black and water. I'll get a coconut milk latte if I go to Starbucks, and then I'll get almond milk if I have anything that needs milk, like oatmeal or cereal. I'll put almond milk instead of whole milk in it. So that's my health tip for everybody, from an average guy in his 40s. My health tip: read labels. I don't, and that's another thing. I started reading labels, and I don't eat anything with high fructose corn syrup in it. And that goes to ketchup, mustard, you got to read labels, because that stuff's in all those condiments that we eat. So now I got to get organic ketchup and mustard. And as far as mayonnaise, there's this thing called Vegenaise. Oh, that thing tastes better than mayonnaise to me. Vegenaise. And you know who has a great organic section is Kroger. If anybody has a Kroger in their city, way better in Publix as far as an organic section. It's funny because I told you guys last week I'm in the process of writing a book about my life, and I'm doing it with Rick Bucher. And Rick came to Cincy this past week, and he was telling me, he was like, he hasn't been eating well in Cincy because his dad was sick, and he came to see his dad, and so he's eating hospital food, or he went to Skyline, which is Coney dogs, chili dogs, in Cincy. So Rick was like, man, I need something to eat. So I called him, and we met at this spot called Sleepy Bee in Cincinnati. And Rick did this little dance while he was eating. I said, is food good? He's, oh, man, I'm dancing right now. Because there's not that many healthy spots in Cincinnati, but I found a jewel. If you ever come to Cincinnati, Ohio, go to a place called Sleepy Bee. There's 2 or 3 of them in the city. And they just got organic stuff. And they got they got this sweet potato quinoa bowl. Oh, my God. That thing is so good. It's amazing. So I love eating sleep. They might give me a free meal because I pump them so much. New York Times had me do a travel article for them last week. So me being a comedian in travel, I did this article for the New York Times, and I mentioned Snooze is my favorite breakfast spot in the country, and then Snooze reposted it. So if I decide to go to Snooze one day this week or next week when I'm in Houston, they better not charge me. They better not charge me I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna pull the article out like, oh, this can't even get a pancake? But Snooze always takes care of me. It reminds me of a couple of years ago, and it's on my YouTube page if you guys find it. In fact, we'll post it during this podcast. If you listen to this podcast, we're going to pull up this post I made a couple years ago. God, it's probably about 4 or 5 years ago with me and Shaq. Let me tell you what happened. I had a TV show with Shaq called Upload on True TV. I was only on it 1 year. And we would shoot most of the show at Shaq's house. And we would either go to the Universal lot in Orlando or we go to Shaq's house and shoot. And one day we was on set for like 3 days. We was at Shaq's house and it was long days on set. So I was like, man, I had like 4 or 5 hours off. And I said, I'm going to go work out. And Shaq goes, go work out at my gym. I said, which gym? And I guess he either was an investor or he owned a 24-hour fitness in Orlando. So he gave me the address. It was right down the street from his house. So I go down there and I said, what am I supposed to do, Shaq, when I walk in? Am I supposed to just say Shaq sent me? He goes, yeah, just tell him I sent you. So I go to the front desk and I go, hey, what's up, man? Shaq said it was cool if I worked out here. And the guy goes, yeah, right. And wouldn't let me work out. I go back to Shaq's house and I could have paid the whatever $20 fee, but it was more the principle at this point. I go back to Shaq's house and I go, hey, man, your guy didn't let me work out. And he goes, what? So we did a video.
Hey, I'm at Shaq's house, and he said if I want to work out when I'm in Orlando, go to 24-hour fitness, and if I have a problem getting in,
let him in for a couple of days with Shaq. Have any problems, give me a call, you know the number, but he's cool, let him in.
thank you, Shaq. Don't you feel stupid for stopping me?
So I go back to 24-hour fitness with my cell phone, and I found the guy, the manager that said I couldn't work out. And I said, hey, man, I just want you to see this real quick. And then when I said, don't you feel stupid for stopping me? The guy goes, can't argue with that. You good. Thank you, Shaq. Don't you feel stupid for stopping me? It was like a Pretty Woman moment when Julia Roberts went into the store in Beverly Hills after they said she couldn't shop there, and she came back. Like, big mistake for not helping me. Huge when she had Richard Gere's credit card involved in that. It was my Pretty Woman moment when me and Shaq did that. So let me get on LeVar Ball for a few minutes. I really liked him to a point. Like I did. I thought he was a big mouth, but I really thought he had his son's best interests at heart. And the way when his wife had the stroke and he took care of her and boys had never been in trouble up to China. And I was like, oh, it's a good dude. Just a big mouth. I thought he was like an overzealous basketball dad. You see these football dads, basketball dads, gymnastics dad. You see these dads. I thought he's a little overzealous. And it's our own fault that we know who he is because we keep giving him a microphone, the media. But for him to pull his son out of UCLA after he did just a terrible, the only reason UCLA went to China to play basketball is it's a goodwill, it's an ambassador type thing. It's making the sport global. It's getting the country familiar, and let me tell you something. They're going to follow. If UCLA comes to China and you're a kid or even a grown man and you go to the game, and you get a chance to meet any of those guys, you're going to follow them the rest of their lives. I don't care if they play in Europe. Because I remember when I was 8, I went to a Cincinnati Reds versus New York Mets baseball game. And I had for some reason, I had front row right above the Mets dugout. And this ball player named Ellis Valentine came in from the dugout and he winked at me and gave me a little head nod. That dude was my favorite player because I'm 8 years old and he was an average Major League Baseball player. But I was all about Ellis Valentine. And it was to me, I'm a little kid. I'm sitting there and I was like, oh my God, he just winked at me. He just acknowledged my existence. He was like, I see you, kid. And he was my guy from then on out. And that's what would happen in China if kids was watching that game. It's weird how when you're a kid, you gravitate to certain teams or certain players just because you might watch them on TV or there's a buddy of mine who's from Arizona, lives in LA, but he loves the Bengals. That's why he loves the Bengals. He goes, I started watching football the year the Bengals went to the Super Bowl. He goes, I was like 9 years old, and the Bengals played the 49ers in Super Bowl 23, and that's the year I started watching football, and the Bengals were good. He goes, so I just liked them ever since then. And that's what would have happened in China with and it still might with UCLA going over there. And then you got LiAngelo going over there and stealing and ruining, this goodwill between China and UCLA. And, and granted, he's young. People do stupid stuff when they're young. I get it. He apologized. That's fine. But now you're going to pull him out of UCLA? I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, have the guy face his punishment. And I don't just blame LeVar. I also blame LiAngelo because you're not under 18 anymore. You can make your own decisions. And think about this as a basketball GM or just in general. If he says, "No, Dad, I'm going to stay at UCLA. I'm going to face this. I might have to sit out all year, but I'm going to come back next year and play ball." Man, they would look at him completely different. They go, okay, now this kid gets it. This kid will stand up to his dad because so far nobody stands up to LeVar. But if he would have did that, everybody would have looked at him different. But we don't know what's going on behind closed doors either. He might have to deal with LeVar every day. Talking to him. And then he pulled his other son out of the high school. He's not going to go to Chino Hills anymore because the coach stinks. So I just want to make sure I get this straight. So Donald Trump didn't do anything for your son. That didn't happen. And then the UCLA lost last year in the NCAA tournament because they had too many white guys. The white guys couldn't keep up with the black guys when they lost in the tournament. And now you're pulling your other son out of high school because the coaching's bad. They don't know how to coach. And then your other son you pull out of UCLA because, you can train him better for the NBA than UCLA can. So it's never your guy's fault. It's never your son's fault. It's never your fault. And that's where I got a problem with LeVar. My kids have played sports. I've seen the crazy parents. And I'd be looking at them like, it's not that deep. Now, I remember this is a funny story. My real dad, not my stepdad. I'm still going to do my crazy stepdad story in a second. But my real dad, I think my sisters were like 12. I got identical twin sisters. And when they were 12, they were playing on a select soccer team. And they went into overtime and they lost. And the coach didn't put my sisters in the overtime for whatever reason, whatever his reasons were. So I'm at the car with my dad, and my dad literally, it's like out of a movie. He's got both my identical twin sisters under each arm. And he's like kissing one, kissing the other. It's okay. And they're crying and stuff. And the coach is walking to his car, and my dad yells, "Just break their fucking spirit, man. Just break their fucking spirit." And I literally looked at my dad and I go, Dad, listen, pregnant at 13 breaks her spirit. Not getting into a soccer game behind a church on a Sunday morning doesn't break anybody's spirit. And my dad started laughing. He goes, You're right. I was a little overzealous. And we still laugh about it to this day. I said, Dad, did you yell at the coach across the parking lot? Just break the fucking spirit, man. Just break the fucking spirit. Break the fucking spirit, man. Now, this is what I did also this last week. I went to a high school basketball game where my son goes. There's a school called Moeller High School in Cincinnati. Now, Moeller is known for football in the past. If you guys remember, they're the only team in the history of high school sports. They had their high school coach 30 years ago named Jerry Faust. Notre Dame hired him directly out of high school because he had built such a powerhouse at Moeller. He went to Notre Dame. That's the first time I've ever seen somebody getting a big college coaching job off high school. But Moellers were like, Ken Griffey Jr. went there, and Ken Griffey Jr. was a hell of a high school football player also. But the Larkins went there, Barry and Byron. Moeller just they got a kid going to Penn State next year, a kid going to Michigan State, a kid going to Kentucky. They're known for a football powerhouse in Cincinnati. But they got a great high school basketball team this year. Kid on their team named Jackson Hayes. His dad is a tight ends coach for the Bengals, Jonathan Hayes, and he played in the NFL for 10 years. And his mom is from Iowa. She played at Drake and led Drake to the Sweet 16. And his mom averaged like 45 points in high school. So as far as DNA and the genetic gene pool, Jackson had it. But he's 6'11" right now. And I've known Jackson since he was 6 years old. And he always was a tall kid, but we didn't know he was going to be 6'11". The kid averaged 1.2 points last year in high school. Barely played. As a junior. Never played AAU basketball before. Plays AAU ball over the summer. Grows 5 inches. So he goes from like 6'5" to 6'11", so 6'6", 6'11". And he's getting coordinated. And he all of a sudden, even before the season started, everyone started recruiting him. Kentucky, Georgia, Xavier, UC, Florida. He signed with Texas. So he's going to Texas next year. He really likes Shaka Smart. So he's going to Texas to play ball next year. So I went to see Jackson play, and I saw him play last year, and he barely played. So I'm watching this game, and they're playing a decent team, and he's not doing much so far. And I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what did Kentucky and what all these teams see in him. All of a sudden, guy ain't scored at second quarter. Jackson hasn't scored yet. He steals the ball, and he's 6'11". He brings it up the court. All of a sudden, he jumped so fast and so high. He did a windmill dunk. I thought he just might dunk it. He did a windmill dunk, and his face was looking down into the basket. Like his eyes, but he just jumped so fast. And I went, oh, there it is. Because I'm sitting there like, hold on, he ain't even scored yet. He ain't done nothing. And then he did that. And I went, okay, now I get it. How fast he got up off the court, and he's already 6'11". He doesn't have to jump that high to dunk it. He got up so fast and so high. I was like, oh. It's funny when you watch a high school basketball game and you try to figure out how did they figure out that guy was good, and then you see a D1 athlete out there. There's a huge separation between a high school kid that's going to Kentucky, Texas, UCLA, USC, and a high school kid going to Otterbein or Findlay, one of these Division III schools. There's just a huge difference in athleticism a lot of times. And I saw it. That's the first time I went, oh, I felt like a scout. Like I was like, oh, I was looking for a pen and pad to write down stuff. Okay, now I get it. It was also neat to see because I've known the kid since he was 6. It's just funny to see him grow into like this damn near 7-footer, and he's huge and he's balling. So, all right, crazy stepdad story. And this is going to make some people cringe, but is what it is. When I was 5, I had a loose tooth, and right in the front of my mouth had a loose tooth. And I had never lost a tooth before. And so my stepdad had his buddies over, and we had this little apartment. He tied a piece of string to my tooth and then tied the other string to a freezer. I don't know if you guys remember the fridges where the freezer stood on top of the fridge. It was just like a little, the refrigerators were rectangles, and like 70, 80% of the rectangle was the fridge, and the top 20% was the freezer. It had the little door that opened up. So he tied a string to the freezer, opened it, and then he slammed the freezer door shut. And my tooth just went flying, and I passed out. Like I just went down, and I just remember waking up in front of the fridge, and there was blood all over my mouth and stuff. And I didn't know what happened. And I looked up, and he's just laughing at me. And I was like, okay, this is my life. 5 years old. That was the beginning. So yeah, just took tied the string to the tooth and then tied it to the freezer and slammed the freezer shut. And I just remember going down. I don't remember tooth coming. I just passed out. And I woke up we had a little like carpet in front of a little rug in front of the refrigerator. I just remember waking up on the rug and just blood coming out of my mouth. And then he's just up there laughing. So yeah, I'm just going to give you one every week. Let you know what kind of guy that guy is. He's a great dude. But let me give my Super Bowl picks. Super Bowl, even though Philly lost last week, I'm still picking the Eagles to come out of the NFC. Although I'm really starting to lean back towards the Falcons a little bit because they're starting to put it together. Like I picked them early and then they kind of dipped a little bit, but they're starting to put it together again. And Matt Ryan is a great quarterback. People don't give him enough credit, but he's a great quarterback. In the NFC and the AFC, I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I went to Steelers for a couple weeks, but after seeing them play the Bengals, I'm just like, I know Tom Brady's looking at that defense, just licking his chops. And the fact that they lost, and it sucks, man. They lost Ryan Shazier because like I said, I don't wish injuries on anybody, especially that magnitude. I just want him to be healthy at this point. Screw playing football. I just want him to be healthy. That's a huge loss for the Steelers because that's he's like their Vontez for the Bengals. He's their guy. Like he just gets them motivated, gets them fired up, and he always has a big hit. He's that dude. So with him being out and the Steelers defense already wasn't great, it was good, it wasn't great. I just think it's going to be the Patriots at this point. And now my picks actually mean something because it's late in the season. Early on, look at my early season Super Bowl picks. It was Kansas City. What happened? How do you not root for the Chargers at this point? They were 0-4. Now they're 6-6. I mean, and Phillip Rivers, he was in that draft class with Big Ben and Eli, and then Phillip Rivers is in there, and you're like, how do you not root for him? Because he's just as good. He just hasn't been on the teams. And San Diego's very much like Cincinnati as far as ownership. I don't think winning is the priority of the owner. I think it's just it is what it is, whatever. So I say New England and Philly right now are my two Super Bowl picks, but Atlanta's coming. They're coming. They just beat the Saints the other night. They're coming. So anyways, I want to get into, and I'm a little depressed. My Bengals, it looks like the season is officially over as far as any hope for the playoffs or anything. It's just, I went to the game Monday night and I had so much hope, and we go up 17-0, and I'm like, yes. And literally we went up 17-0, about 30, 40 seconds left in the half. I walk up to meet some buddies by the concessions, and I look up, and just the time it took me to walk up 30 stairs, it was 17-3 at halftime. I was like, what happened? And everybody's like, well, Dre Kirkpatrick got called for a pass interference, and he had to, or that it was going to be a touchdown pass. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then, Pittsburgh comes in at 17-10. And as much as I love William Jackson, he makes a bonehead play, doesn't push Le'Veon Bell out of bounds. I still don't know what that is about. Why he let him run just down the sidelines like that. That was so odd. And then we go up 20-10. Really, the Bengals went up 24-10, and they called the touchdown back that A.J. Green caught. And it was a holding call, but it had nothing to do with the play. It didn't. The guy wasn't going to sack Andy Dalton, and it had nothing to do with the play. And those refs were just throwing flags on both teams, just way too many flags. And so AJ scores, and we're going crazy. And I went, "There's no way." So we still came down and kicked the field goal. So now Bengals are feeling pretty good going into the fourth. And then here comes Pittsburgh just needling. It's 2013, and then it's 2020. And then the Bengals get the ball back with like 3.5 minutes left. I was just thinking, just don't give Pittsburgh enough time to get the ball back. And sure enough, we go 3 and out. And there was no doubt Pittsburgh is going to drive that ball down the field. There wasn't a doubt in anybody's mind in that stadium. It was deja vu of the playoff game a couple years ago. Not as heartbreaking, but it's still, in essence, it ended the Bengals season. It really did. And then to top it off, all the injuries. I mean, Joe Mixon was rattling off 5 yards of carry. That guy is the real deal. I mean, if there's any silver lining to this season is we have somebody to hang our hat on the next couple years as far as a running back. Because that dude is thick, and he got the concussion protocol. And but he was rounding off, and then Gio Bernard comes in, he started balling, but he's got fresh legs. He's been waiting, and he don't like Pittsburgh. So he was rounding off. I was like, Dad, we're really running the ball. For the first time this season, I cannot blame the offensive line for anything. Like they were blocking. They were doing their best. And Pittsburgh doesn't have the greatest D, by the way. But they were blocking. I was like, okay. And I just, in my mind, I'm already going to the next game. I was like, when it was in the fourth quarter and the Bengals are up 20-10, I was already like, oh my God, we're going to be 6-6. We got the Bears coming. We're going to be 7-6. And then we just got to win 2 of the next 3, and we're probably in the playoffs. I was already there. And then Pittsburgh came and it's 9 out of the last 10 we've lost to the Steelers. Like they just got our number. And the same thing, I'm sure the way Bengals fans look at Steeler fans, and I mean the team, is probably how Pittsburgh looks at New England, because New England just has the Steelers number, and they got to play them in a couple weeks. And if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm like, if I'm looking at my defense, I'm like, oh my God, Tom Brady is about to carve us up. I'm always like, I respect all pro athletes, and especially NFL players. I hate it when people are like they ain't earning their money. They earn every nickel for what they put their bodies through, and for our entertainment purposes, it is my escape from what's ever going on in my life for 3 hours when the Bengals are playing. It's a form of entertainment, no different than people go to comedy shows to escape the grind of the day-to-day life. I watch football games for the same reason. It's for those couple hours. I can relax. I ain't got to worry about nothing, and I can just focus on the Bengals. I'm not worried about what my next movie is, when I'm going to be on TV again, what's for dinner. I'm just there in the moment in that game. So that them football players earn every nickel. But listen, I don't care what people say when they be like, and Bengal fans say this, and Steeler fans say it. They'll be like, they're dirty. The refs got us. It's funny because I'll go on Facebook sometimes, and I'll go to like a Pittsburgh fan page, or I'll go to a Bengals fan page, and the arguments are the same. They're the exact same arguments. The refs tried to take the game away from us, but we're too good. The Bengal fans, the refs completely took the game away from us. That hit on Antonio was dirty. That hit on Vontez was dirty. I'm like, dude, it's just football. It's football. Guys are going to get rocked. Guys are going to get hit. But I hate to see what happened to Ryan Shazier, because I'm not one of these dudes that because you play for Pittsburgh, I hate you. No, I like Ohio State. I'm from Ohio. When Shazier was at Ohio State, I was a huge Ohio State fan. And then he goes to Pittsburgh, and still, I don't root for him in Pittsburgh, but I don't want nobody to get hurt. And especially when I found out he might not be able to play again. I don't want to see that on nobody. Because I always say, like, you never have a choice of where you're going to get drafted by. So Juju Schuster could have been in Cincinnati, and then we'd be like the biggest fan. But since in Pittsburgh, we hate him. I remember a few years ago, I thought the Bengals were going to pick this guard out of Stanford, David DeCastro, who's on the Steelers right now. And David DeCastro, who's been in the league a few years now, he's always like, I can't stand Cincinnati. I hate them. I would never play there. I'm like, yes, you would. You almost got drafted by Cincinnati a few years ago. And if you did, you're one of those dudes that probably be like, I hate Pittsburgh. I would never play in Pittsburgh. Yes, you would. Don't get it twisted. Yes, you would. As long as there's a check coming, yes, you would. And even last year during the draft, the Bengals were looking for a wide receiver, and they ended up taking William Jackson, the cornerback. And the rumor was they took him because the Bengals picked one pick before Pittsburgh, and they knew Pittsburgh wanted William Jackson bad, and the Bengals took him the pick before Pittsburgh. And because like 3 teams before the Bengals all picked wide receivers. I'd never seen nothing like it, because Bengals just lost Marvin Jones and Mohamed Sanu, and then the Texans took a receiver, and I think the Vikings everybody took a receiver. I was like, there's no way. Like, the 3 receivers on the board were gone. And then the Bengals ended up taking William Jackson, and the Steelers, I don't know who the Steelers took, but I remember thinking, you don't have a choice. Where are you going to go? When guys become free agents and then they get a chance to go where they want to go in any sport, and then people get mad at them like they ain't loyal to the team. I'm like, dude, if you have a chance to play where you want to play, just go. Who wouldn't do that in any job field? If you want to live in Miami, if you want to live in New York, and you get a chance, do it. You're only going to live once. See, I hear people like, he ain't loyal to Milwaukee or Green Bay. Look, he don't want to live in Green Bay, or he don't want to live in Milwaukee. It is what it is. And on a side note, it's so frustrating because we got the talent. The Bengals got the talent. I mean, you got a Hall of Fame wide receiver in AJ Green. You got a Hall of Fame defensive lineman in Geno Atkins. You got a young running back that wants the ball. I mean, we got talent. We got talent. And then John Ross gets put on the injured reserve. We didn't even get to play him. I'm like, what was that? And then they're saying like he concealed a shoulder injury. How does he conceal it? You got doctors. You go through a combine. He didn't conceal anything. I just think they've tuned Marvin out and the assistants, and we just got to overhaul everybody. We got to bring in complete new blood into the building and get these players playing, because we got the talent. That's the thing. And my biggest fear now is the Bengals go on like a 3-4 game run. Like, there's 4 games left and they win 3 of the next 4. And then they'd be like, oh, okay, we've turned a corner. We're going to bring Marvin and everybody back. I'm like, no, come on. I'd rather them just go up the road to Cleveland and bring Hugh down to Cincy, because the players will listen to him. He's not playing that stuff. I'll tell you that. I guess I'm already looking at the draft at this point in my life because as soon as they lost that game, I went home and started looking up ESPN college football players and who's getting the Davey O'Brien and Maxwell Award. And it's what's funny to me. It's when the combine comes around and the draft, the quarterback that's probably, by the time this airs, he's going to win the Heisman. Baker Mayfield's going to win the Heisman. And everybody's going to compare him to Johnny Manziel because of the incident against Kansas where he grabbed his crotch and was talking smack to Kansas. By the way, a lot of that was Kansas team's fault because they didn't shake his hand in the pregame a coin toss, and then they were talking smack to him the whole game and kind of gave him little cheap shots. So he's got a little swag, a little fire to him. And then he had the incident in the offseason where he got arrested by the cops. So everyone's like, is he another Johnny Manziel? When I watch him play, I see Russell Wilson more than Johnny Manziel when he plays. Because he makes things happen with his feet. He's always looking downfield. Like he wants to throw, but he's always looking downfield. But because he's white, they're going to compare him to Johnny Manziel. They're not going to compare him to a black quarterback. When if you really look at his game, it's very much more Russell Wilson than Johnny Manziel. In my eyes, and I'm not an expert, I'm not a scout, I'm not a coach, but I do watch a lot of football. And I notice like every time a white wide receiver comes around, they compare him to an ex-white wide receiver. Every time a white running back comes around, they compare him to a white running back. They never compare a white guy with a black guy. That's what's amazing to me. I've never seen it. Like, I'm like, how do they not? I said it on a special I had a couple years ago where a lot of the announcers, they do like little subliminal racist comments. They'll be like, he's quicker than he looks. They've never said that about a black guy. In the history of any sport, they have never said he's quicker than he looks. I'm like, what the hell does quick look like? What the hell does quick look like? You know what it looks like? Quick looks black. That's what it looks like. When you say he's quicker than he looks, that's only been said for a white dude. I want you to really watch the draft. We'll play this back when the draft comes in April, but really listen to the announcers as the guys getting drafted. Though I guarantee you, when a white guy gets drafted, at some point, one of those announcers are going to say that he's a lot faster than he looks. He's shifty. You don't see him coming. When you see him play, you don't expect him to be that fast. Because here's another thing: they should never compare Jameis Winston to a black quarterback that's mobile, ever. That guy doesn't run like that. If you're gonna compare Jameis Winston like Dan Marino, he don't move. Jameis Winston just sits back in the pocket. He don't run the ball like that. But they never compared Jameis to a white quarterback when he came out at all. They'll be like, he's not a Michael Vick. Who watches Michael Vick and Jameis Winston and thinks those two guys play anything alike? But I remember hearing that, like, now look, he ain't no Michael Vick. Where did you get Michael Vick from? Oh, let me guess. They're both black. That's why I used to have Michael Vick. But I don't know the next couple weeks where the Bengals stand as far as draft picks. I don't know. It's just frustrating because we got so much talent. Like Carlos Dunlap's a beast. Vontez is a beast. I think William Jackson is a beast. I think Andy's good, We need a lineman, and I think we need some O linemen, maybe another defensive end, and oh god, I don't know. It's just very frustrating being a Bengals fan right now. That stadium was so drained of energy, and I don't want to be the kiss of death, but I've been to four Bengal games this year, and they're 0-4. Maybe it's me. I don't know. I got to go to games like against Cleveland, I guess, because I haven't seen them play Cleveland in years. So I could see a win. But I was like, they're 0-4 this year when I go to games. So when I don't go to games, they're 5-3. So I've really enjoyed watching them on TV. When I watch them on TV, they win. So I'm not going to go this week because I'll be in Houston, and I'm not going next week. The only other game I can make this year is Christmas Eve when they play the Lions in Cincinnati. But I don't know if I'm going to go. Maybe I shouldn't. Or maybe I should so we can get a good draft pick. Maybe I should go against the Lions. Just frustrating, man. Like, I ride or die for mine. And it's just, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I'm just spinning my wheels, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm depressed. Let me. I know. I wanted to end the show on a happy note. That was my goal this week. Just appreciate your own life. Take care of your kids. All right. You thought LeVar was a bad dad? Nah. Now LeVar is Disney compared to my stepdad. That is Walt Disney compared to my stepdad. LeVar doesn't miss a game. My stepdad never went to a game. So, it's what it is. There's got to be an equal medium. Then you got my real dad. Just break your fucking spirit, man. It's what it is. So anyways, this is a fun episode. I'm Gary Owen. I'll see you guys next week with the Get Some podcast.